Hi there, everybody. Quick thing before we get started. I wanted to go ahead and just say big sorry, for lack of content. I made a video saying that I was back. I coincidentally get sick right after that, and did not have the videos to back it up. I played on stream a bit, but my energy wasn't exactly there a lot of times, so I didn't really feel comfortable putting all of that on like a video format. But anyway, I digress. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I'm back for I'm actually back for the third time. Anyway, Magik. We're gonna talk about it. This is my favorite character in the game right now. I think Magik is terrific. I think she's fantastic. I think she's a really, really good flex pick. I think she can fill a really, really good role whenever you have two tanks or even one tank. I think she's a really good option. Magik's strengths come in. Stop talking. Shut up. Holy shit. Okay. Magik fits a really, really, really good role in this game. She's a brawl assassin, tank kind of bruiser, more like hybrid, that can really hang with the best of them, especially like in a brawl setting. She does pretty good. That's not her only role, obviously, but that's going to be a lot of what you're going to be trying to do and assist your teammates with. So let's talk about the big thing. So everyone sees it, everyone loves it, everybody wants to know how. Combos, super duper simple. She's got two main bread and butters that you're gonna actually want to like kind of get in the hang of. First of all, we're gonna talk about the E hitbox. I'm sure everybody's seen that that really weird thing where like Hawkeye's shooting to the right of the guy, they're taking damage. I'm sure a lot of you know that's actually just a hitbox thing because you're looking over your right shoulder. Anyway, it applies to Magik's E as well. So let's go ahead and take a look. So if you see I'm looking straight at the bot, we're going to look a little bit left center. This is going to happen to a lot of people. A lot of people are going to miss because of this. Press E, we clear him. It's crazy. We clear him. We don't even get that close to him. It's pretty brutal. But we look over, we can be pretty generous actually with this. Over the right shoulder. Check that out. Crazy, right? You really, really need to get into the habit of looking at your right side of the shoulder. Because again, how generous can we be? I would say that's pretty generous, all things considered. You can pretty much not even be looking at the guy. But that compared to this, where you don't even clear you just clear him. That's field goal status. You're just missing entirely. But now that we've gone over that a bit, practice that a little bit in actual games. Go into a quick match, do whatever you need to do. Make sure you're actually hitting this pretty consistently. The bot up in the sky is actually pretty okay practice for warm-up kind of thing. Anyway, first combo, we're going to go with probably the more optimistic of two options is going to be this one. So it's actually going to be involving your projectile, which is your right click. You charge it up, you throw that bitch, dash in, auto attack, that's a death. Pretty good, pretty simple, pretty clean. I don't think anything else has to be acknowledged really about it. Anyway, next combo is actually going to involve the portal, and it's going to involve an auto attack. Before we talk about this, though, it's really important. If you take a look, Magik's range is pretty decent. She got a pretty good wide swing. Everything, like, that's pretty solid. But big problem with Magik is it's slow as shit, dude. Like, this is fucking crazy. But what you can do is that you can actually weave in a melee attack into your auto attack. And what are autos? They're just your standard left click. Throw it out. It's MOBA terms. Anyway, you get the picture. Not really a whole lot more need to talk about with that. So that's really important though, because you can actually weave in one of those guys in the air whenever you're, hitting with your E. Why is that important? Because the second kill combo for killing like squishies is actually going to be portal. You're gonna do your Eldritch Whirl into the E, into an auto, into a melee cancel. Super duper great, super duper clean, super cool. Now, we're going to talk about mindsets for the character. I think that's a big one. A lot of time whenever I see people play Magik and I see them do something that they shouldn't be doing, I'll see two different types of people. I'll see the type of person that sits in the backline, perma, all game. This is how people typically try to play this character at the start, whenever they first get their hands on her. They'll sit back here, and they will just wait. They'll throw this out. They'll hit a squishy. They'll dive into 4 people. They'll whiff. They'll die. Game is over. Your DPS is throwing. Can't really do a whole lot. And they'll typically switch after that. Or you'll see the type that won't really care where their tank is at all. And they're just gonna dash in. They're just spamming abilities, perma fighting, and 4 people, they're dying every time. Doesn't matter. They just don't understand, and that's okay. That's why we're here. We're here to help them. We're here to assist them, and we're here to help you yell at them when they're doing that wrong. So, next part, pretty interesting. We're gonna be talking about kind of like what you want to be doing in a mindset, because both playstyles can actually work with some fine tuning. First one, the assassin-ish playstyle is a lot more, we're going to call it like a potential man kind of mindset. It can be really good, and it's really good at actually mental mind gaming, because Magik is not exactly like Spider-Man, because she actually does have like the guns to back up her survivability, in the sense of if you dive into 2 people, you can outplay it. You're going to be a bit beefy, and it's not going to be like a one-shot unless you're stunned, but we'll talk about that later. So what you want to do is, this character is really reliant on where is your team? Where is your team? Where's your team? That is like the biggest thing, more so than other dive characters. When you play her like a dive, you need to make sure that your tank is doing like whatever you need them to do, because you cannot play this character and you cannot dive recklessly in the backline if your tank is like picking daisies. If your tank is really far back, so not 5 meters, not 10 meters, we're talking like 15 meters, 20 meters. Your tank is back there, and you're attempting to just like dive to a point where they can't help you. I hate to say this, it's curtains 9 times out of 10. It's gonna be really hard for them to assist you in this situation. But if they're like 10, 15-ish meters, like give or take, like encroaching on 10 to 5, this actually works pretty good, because you got their backline right here. So we'll call this like like levels of layers. So if they're doing 2, 2, 2, so you got their backline, their damage, and you got their tanks. This won't always be the case, obviously, but like for like humor it for a second. So here are their, or better yet, like this is support, that's damage, that's tank. Your tank is actually in their shit, and you've got another one right up here. This is actually where you have a really good time with this. Playing with 2 tanks is when you can do this a lot more of the time. Playing with 1 tank is a little bit different. Again, we'll talk about that after. So, it's pressure. You can actually go in, and you are out of there. And then what do you do after this? Well, when you're waiting on cooldowns especially, you're actually just going to be poking. You're not going to be using a bunch of abilities. You might be able to throw a right click in there. You don't typically want to be just using anything for no reason. You want to use your abilities with actual purpose, not for the sake of just using them. But that's the assassin-like playstyle. It's not always going to be like the thing that you can do, but it's going to be pretty good a lot of the time for 2-2-2 situations where they're getting really sloppy. They don't really have a Penny Parker to help like with the dive. They don't have a name or that kind of thing. It's going to be pretty solid. It's going to be pretty good. Now, what if we have 1 tank? What are we doing then? Like, if we have 1 tank, what is the move? Magik's really good at this. She's super duper good at just being a pseudo tank of sorts. She does more damage than your tank, but she can't tank as good as a tank. It's really nice. So we're gonna say this is the tank. This is the backline, right? Perfect situation. You're actually just gonna be with your tank, applying pressure. You don't intend to kill the tank. That's not your goal here. You just want to give the impression that they really need to be urgent with their help, because at any time, oh, big scary Magik's going to come over and they're going to do a bunch of damage. That's not what you want to do. You want the support to get uncomfortable and think that they have to move so you can do something freaky like this. And what do we do after that? We're helping the tank again. We got our kill. We're backing out. Or, now, this is really nice. If you're full HP and you've stacked this up, because you're going to build your stacks for your bonus health, which you get by dealing damage to enemies, you're gonna get that while like poking this tank, right? Now, in a opportunity like this, where you're full HP, no one's attacking you, and you dash in, and you're in there, right? You just portal out, you drop demon, you're just doing more damage. You're just doing more damage, you're helping your tank, and you're backing up whenever you need more cooldowns. Pretty easy. Sounds simple, not so. It can be really hard, especially you're going to get in situations where your tank is scared. Low elo especially, where they're walking backward and they're just worried. They're really scared. I don't know why. It happens more often than you think. If somebody's filled, they normally play Jeff the Shark or they play like Luna. They don't really know what to do. And this is an awkward situation for them. So The unfortunate problem is whenever you're in a situation like this, it's best to just switch. Play something that's going to apply pressure in a way that Magik can't, because if your tank isn't going to play like a tank, you can't play like a tank either. It's a very codependent relationship, you with the tank, if you're playing Magik. In a like one tank situation. Because all you need is one good tank. One good tank, and you can actually really flex this a lot. Unless you like get hard CC'd, but typically you're gonna want to be playing like and pairing with something like Hulk is a great example of this. Because you're playing behind him, if you need a bubble and he pops bubble since you're on top of him, you're gonna get it. And it's really it's huge. It's nice. It's really great. You can actually get a lot of value out of having characters like Hulk, Magneto, Thor works pretty okay too. They help a lot because your goal here is to be able to provide a position on this character where if you're playing with one tank, you probably have two other DPSs. What are they probably doing? They're probably either one of them's probably on Hela and the other one's probably inting on Spider-Man. So you're actually going to be able to cover the Spider-Man space because that guy's probably doing nothing anyway. But you're in a pretty good spot where you can actually help your teammate. You can apply pressure here. That you can actually, you have a pretty good window to, if your support gets, you know, they've got somebody on them, Venom dives. Well, you're back. You're home. You're helping your support. What do you do after that's over? You go back up. You're charging your cooldowns. In the fight, you're building your HP. You're doing pretty good. You're diving that backline. You're out of there. You're helping the tank. You're getting your cooldowns. Pretty solid. Pretty cool. Great. Awesome. I'm glad we talked about that. Remember, biggest, like, large thing, to kind of summarize. You're a really good assassin whenever you have two tanks. You're very optimistic if you only have one about that kind of thing. If you're trying to brawl, you're in a really good spot if you have a tank that can play forward. If a tank is really scared and they're playing backward, probably swap. Or if you want to force the pick, you might just want to, at that point, just say fuck it and then just start playing like an assassin anyway. Because you're not going to be able to be healed like a tank. You're not going to be able to survive a lot of stuff the way a tank can. It's tragic, but it's true. So, let's talk about Demon and Whirlwind. We talked about the E, pretty much everything like that. We'll talk about it more with the ult, but now let's talk about Demon and Whirlwind. So, whenever you use your shift, obviously you go through the portal. Really nice. You have two options. You have the Whirlwind, or you have the Demon. Now that little critter, the Demon, he's actually probably the most, in my opinion, underrated ability in the game. I think the Demon is really good. I think that people don't talk about it enough, and I don't think that they're knowing how to use it. Demon has a lot of properties that can really assist you in games. So, for one, it's actually best if we do this over here. So we're going to wait for this bot to go in. Say that there's like 3 people in this room. Drop Demon in this doorway. That's pretty good damage. Demon's not bad damage at all. And he can help a lot in situations like that. So, a large thing as well. So we talked about this a minute ago. But your passive, Limbo's might convert damage inflicted to enemies into bonus health to herself. It's really solid. Demon is pretty good at applying this. I mean, that's 125 HP, I think. Wait, no. I'm lying. It's not 125. God, don't listen to me. But you get what I mean. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Because not only that, you're getting quite a bit of HP, and while that's happening, you're also stacking with your own attacks that are separate from the Demon. So it's really nice. Demon can't really be used in a lot of combo situations like the Whirlwind, so that use case is kind of out the window. But what I do like to do, and I see a lot of good Magic players do, they'll teleport behind the tank, they'll Demon, and then that's whenever you're actually able to teleport behind. You're kind of creating a front and back situation. If it's a Magneto, he's not going to be able to block both. Same thing with the Strange. You're just doing some constant damage. It's really nice. Can be really helpful. And building that HP up is going to deal a lot. Let's talk about something a little bit different with the Demon as well. It's kind of a different property that a lot of people don't use correctly. The Demon actually has its own hitbox when it comes to taking damage as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to just drop this little guy in front. And we're going to act like we're running backward. See how he's hitting the Demon? He acts the same thing as another teammate. It's another entity of sorts. It's like a barrier. Now, not in every situation is this going to be helpful, but in situations where you're running away from a Punisher, a Star-Lord, something like that, a Hela, a Hawkeye, it's actually gonna be helpful. It's gonna be able to get you out, especially in long corridors where it's pretty much walk backward and hope. You know, you drop portal back, pop a demon down, pretty good. If a melee character decides to pursue, well, they're getting hit. That's bonus HP. Pretty good, pretty solid, pretty clean. Whirlwind is a bit of a different type of situation. Oftentimes I'll see people, they'll go in, they'll pop Whirlwind like it's doing some crazy amount of damage. This is like nothing. So we'll put this in perspective. This is the damage from Whirlwind. This is the damage from an auto. And if you want to get a little bit more freaky, we'll just like this, the Whirlwind damage. Let's look at an auto with a cancel in it. Yeah, I don't know about you. That's pretty pathetic. People don't want to, you don't want to just like Whirlwind in for free. You're doing almost nothing. This is the same value that you get for, this. Not really a whole lot of point. Now, it can be good. I'm not saying it's never good. If they're low HP, that's actually pretty solid. So, like, you know, they're running away. They're getting away pretty well. You're dashing in. Boom. Pretty solid, pretty solid. But it's not really that great of engage. You don't really want to do it. You can get into really, like, weird, freaky situations. Like, if this is a tank, you know, you're whirlwinding in, you whirlwind again. Boom. Tank could take a lot of damage. Or he'll get healed. But it can be okay for this type of situation, but it's really expensive. You're using 2 portals. You don't want to do that. So, again, this is where that whole thing where you kind of only want to use Whirlwind when you're really, really married to something. You really want this damage. So, again, we talked about this before. We're fighting the tank. That's great. We dive their backline. Whirlwind in. Huge. Really big. Really good damage. That's a lot of the time what the use case on it is. Or if you got like people behind you, you know, this is going to be pretty solid too. It's going to hit behind you. If the guy's low, it's going to be nice. But, it's not all that. People are gonna use it and they're gonna use it wrong. They're gonna whiff this. They're gonna go in. They're gonna try to brawl. Especially with 2 people here, just not really that great. You just want to portal away at that point. Super, 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 super duper scary. Just throwing it out there. Now, let's talk about Darkchild. In my opinion, this is somehow the most underrated and overrated ult in the game. There are times whenever I see people glazing the shit out of this ultimate because it does good damage and then they use it wrong and they die. There's times where I see people saying this ult does nothing and you die to animation lock, which is also kind of true. It sucks, but it can be the case in certain situations. I'll see people run in, they'll do this, and they're just going to walk in a straight line at these people thinking that they're just going to 1v6 the game. It's over. Darkchild's out. The closer is here. No, nothing like that. It's not. It's a good ult. It's not that crazy. For that kind of situation. Now, what Darkchild is really good at though, is if you're fighting and you're in there, you know, like you're playing with your tank, you're playing neutral, right? That was weird. You're in there. Say things are going a little south or things are getting a little bit hairy, right? And you're doing pretty decent damage. You know, you're fighting it out. You're tussling, but you use it smart. You go up here, you're popping Darkchild, you get your cooldowns back. Now, if you're playing with your tank, now we're doing some damage. That's pretty good. But then, oh, Darkchild ran out. I'm dead. It sucks. That's the case. Darkchild doesn't have any armor or invincibility when you're coming in or out of it, so it can actually be pretty rough some of the time in these situations, because if you're not aware of when your cooldowns are up, you can get yourself killed a lot of the time. You really have to not only be aware of like when your E is up before, so you can kind of float it, make them kind of want to marry this play, go in. Your tank's like, oh man, they're just pushing us back. You need a game turner. This is pretty good. And then you can go in, do your damage like we talked about. You get your picks at around 2 seconds unless the fight is closed. You need to get out, de-transform, go back in. Same concept. Because you get your cooldowns back when you go in and out of it, which is really great. But there's those problems where like the situations will come up, you're leaving or entering, and you're gonna take a lot of damage for it. Glad we talked about that. I don't know, just in case people are actually curious about the game plan with Darkchild when you're in it. It's not exactly the type of thing that you're gonna go in the middle of 6 people and kill everybody. It can happen. It's not gonna happen a lot of the time. Your biggest focus again is the squishies. Oftentimes they can't out heal what you're doing. The issue is also, normally you need to wait for Luna Snow ult to go, because if they pop Luna Snow ult, you're a fish. You're sitting there, you're killable, they're not killable, you're in trouble. That full stop. Luna Snow ult has to be off the field, or you need to know that they don't have the option to use it quite then. She has to be dead before, and then you can pop it. Mantis is similar. Ironically, Jeff is pretty good. I think that she can be stunned out of Jeff if I'm not, like, if Jeff eats her, I think that works too, but I might be wrong. Penny Parker, pretty rough as well. Anyway, let's talk about the kind of the maneuverability. We talked earlier about how you want to land your E like on the robot. This one's not exactly the case. You actually just want to go past, because you actually do end up getting the damage on multiple individuals by doing that, which is really, really helpful. But it's pretty straightforward from there. At this point, you're just playing games and you're just trying to get accustomed to like and acquainted with the character, which is really, really helpful. I don't think that Magik is some like 5-head character that you have to play kind of like Spider-Man is with the mechanics or anything. Hers is a lot, not so much mechanically as it is like mindset based, I feel, which is really helpful. It actually allows you to think about the game a little bit differently than other dives, which is really, really nice. But it can also put you in really sticky situations because you can't solo carry with this character if your tank doesn't want to play the video game unless the other team has their screen turned off. So, yeah, no, that's going to be it. Again, we're going to be posting some Magik content on the channel. She's actually the character I've been having the most fun with. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I'm sorry for my brief coma that I was put into by being sick. But I'm back now. I'm really excited. I'm super duper stoked. I'm having a ton of fun with Marvel. Let me know what other characters you want to see in this kind of format. I'd love to break it down and kind of help supports, tanks, anything like that. Anyway, without further ado, I hope you guys are having a wonderful rest of your day. This has been the Magik video. I love you so much. Make sure you eat your lunch. It's super important. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.